The Bread Wolf and Mr. Muddle. Once upon a time, there was an old grandfather who owned a small bakery. The bread he baked was so fragrant and sweet that it was the best in town. However, as he grew older, he needed some help. The old grandfather's solution was quite clever. He created a bread wolf named Peter. Peter was very smart, and it didn't take long for him to learn the ropes: buying flour, making bread, baking it, and delivering it. With Peter's help, the old man had an easier time. He could relax in the corner of the shop, basking in the sun, or take leisurely walks by the river. The little bakery had thriving business, and every loaf of bread sold out quickly. One frequent customer thought, "The bread from this bakery is delicious. I want to make bread too and earn lots of money." This person was Mr. Muddle. He acted impulsively and opened a big bakery right next door to the small one. However, Mr. Muddle was, well, muddled in everything he did. His bread was always overcooked and tasted hard and bitter, making it the least delicious in town. Only one customer bought Mr. Muddle's bread, and that was the bread wolf. Peter, who could make bread himself, bought Mr. Muddle's bread to fill his stomach. It was quite a strange sight. The bread wolf had a big appetite and needed to eat a lot of bread. To ensure the delicious bread was left for the children, he bought Mr. Muddle's bitter bread to satisfy his hunger. Every day, the little bakery's bread sold out early, while not a single loaf sold from the big bakery. Mr. Muddle had to stand on the street corner, shouting, "Big sale on bread! Come and buy!" But no matter how loud Mr. Muddle shouted, nobody bought his bread. Just when Mr. Muddle was feeling incredibly disappointed, the bread wolf would come along, grinning, and say, "Mr. Muddle, I'll take all your bread." "Oh, lovely Peter!" Mr. Muddle would see the bread wolf and drool, opening his arms as if to embrace him, and maybe take a bite. Peter was created by the old grandfather, and he was indeed a tasty, fragrant bread. However, after the bread wolf had been bitten by Mr. Muddle once, he never dared to embrace Mr. Muddle again. Peter didn't mind spending a little money to buy Mr. Muddle's bread and eat it to fill his stomach. He wasn't too particular about the taste. When Mr. Muddle calculated his earnings, he realized he hadn't made any money. Try as he might, he couldn't figure out why his big bakery, with all its unsold bread, wasn't profitable. And that, my dear, is the end of the story. It teaches us an important lesson. It's not enough to just sell bread. It has to be good bread. Good night. The Curious Little Fox and the Three Gulugulu. At noon, the little fox had just finished bathing and was resting on the riverbank. His home was a short distance away in a burrow. "Come here, my dear, Daddy has brought back something nice," said Fox Dad, setting down a bamboo basket from his shoulder. "Watch this while I gather some firewood for cooking." "Don't worry, Dad," said the little fox. He sat on the bamboo basket, and suddenly, it made a sound, 3 Gulugulu, blowing horns and beating drums. The little fox found it strange and asked, "Huh? What's that?" "Do you want to know? Open the lid, and you'll find out," replied the bamboo basket. The little fox couldn't resist and opened the lid. But before he could see inside, splash, a big fish leaped out. The little fox tried to catch it, but the fish swam away into the river. So the little fox had to sit back on the bamboo basket. At this moment, the bamboo basket made a sound again. 2 Gulugulu roasting sweet potatoes inside. The little fox was puzzled and asked, "Huh? What's that?" The bamboo basket answered, "If you want to know, open the lid." The little fox pouted and said, "Hey every time I open the lid, you either swim away or fly away." "We won't swim, we won't fly, not a small snail will lie," the bamboo basket shouted back. Relieved, the little fox jumped down and opened the lid, but just as he was about to see what was inside, flap, a bird flew out. The little fox tried to catch it, but the bird called twice and flew away. There was nothing the little fox could do except return to the bamboo basket. But the basket had another message. One Gulugulu loves to read picture books. Read picture books? The little fox couldn't help but jump down again. Huh? What's that? If you want to know, open the lid, the bamboo basket replied. This time, I won't be fooled, the little fox said with a pout. Whenever I open the lid, you either swim away or fly away. We can't swim, we can't fly, we're not lying, it's a little turtle, the bamboo basket answered. What can you do then? The little fox asked. The bamboo basket replied, with Gulugulu magic, it's not a bluff. We can turn a pile of firewood into enough stuff. The little fox was delighted. That's great! My dad won't have to gather firewood. With excitement, he opened the lid, but before he could see inside, thump, a gray rabbit jumped out. It smiled and said, "Goodbye, curious little fox." Then it ran away without looking back. On the riverbank, all that remained was the curious little fox and the empty bamboo basket. The cunning little rabbit. In the forest, there lived a large lion who spent his days hunting and eating small animals. The forest's inhabitants despised and feared him, but couldn't think of a way to stop him. One day, the small animals gathered together and approached the lion with a proposal. If we bring you food every day, could you stop eating us? After a moment of consideration, the lion arrogantly agreed. One day, it was the white rabbit's turn to bring the lion his meal. However, the white rabbit was so playful that he lost track of time. The lion grew impatient, and when the white rabbit finally arrived, he angrily demanded, "Why are you so late?" In the face of the furious lion, the white rabbit remained composed and feigned frustration, saying, "I had terrible luck today. I encountered an even bigger lion than you, and it aggressively seized your delicious meal, claiming it would become the forest's new king." The lion, upon hearing this, declared, "I must find this other lion." The white rabbit led the lion to the riverbank, saying, "I'm sure the other lion is inside there." The lion, seeing his reflection in the water, believed it was another lion. He pounced into the water and, as a result, drowned. We should all learn from the white rabbit and become clever, brave, and resourceful children. The big news in Foxtown. For a long time, Foxtown had been without any significant news, and the atmosphere in the town felt dull. The residents seemed to have lost their vibrant expressions. The mayor grew concerned for his residents and knew something needed to change. He called the town's red fox from the local newspaper and instructed him to release an announcement. There will be a big event in the town center square the day after tomorrow. The red fox got excited. "May I ask, Mayor, what is the big event?" The mayor shook his head. "I can't tell you right now." Soon after, foxes selling newspapers on the streets shouted, "Extra, extra! A big event is happening the day after tomorrow." The first fox to buy a newspaper raised an eyebrow, and his expression immediately brightened. This news was truly exciting. Previous headlines in the newspaper had been rather mundane, such as "Another pink rose blooming with over 20 petals," or "The bakery on Main Street selling 19 buns this morning, one more than yesterday." Who could be interested in that? No wonder nobody wanted to read it. Quickly, the entire town of Foxes knew that something significant was going to happen the day after tomorrow. Their spirits were lifted, and everyone was looking forward to the big event. The mayor was clearly satisfied with the effect he had created. He even felt a little smug. At the same time, he was a bit anxious. He wondered if the event he was planning would meet everyone's expectations. To make it even more exciting, he needed to prepare further. These 2 days, Foxtown came to life, and everyone was in high spirits. Finally, the third day arrived. Throughout the entire day, nothing happened, increasing everyone's curiosity. Foxes were looking around and trying to find out what was going on, but nobody could figure it out. It wasn't until evening when all the foxes gathered in the town square, waiting for. The mayor calmly and slowly ignited a set of fireworks that were attached to him. He then flew into the sky with a swoosh. Oh my, the fireworks were attached to the mayor. The crowd gasped, worried about the mayor. They didn't want their beloved mayor to leave. However, upon closer inspection, they realized it was just a fake fox, and the mayor had played a trick on them. This event happened a long time ago, but the foxes still discussed it. Who lost their hat that night? How many pairs of shoes were found on the square the next day? And whose child went to someone else's house and wasn't discovered until morning? These were all newsworthy events. They were all waiting for the next piece of news to forget about this one. The red ant and the rainbow fruit. One red ant grabbed the edge of the red mushroom's umbrella and swung on it happily like a swing. Achoo! Lazy Witch sneezed loudly, and with the rush of air from her sneeze, the red ant flew into the air and landed on Lazy Witch's shoulder. Lazy Witch caught the red ant and twisted its red bottom slightly. Phew! A round red ball shot out from the red ant's bottom, landing right on Lazy Witch's nose. Frowning, Lazy Witch angrily said, "You, little one, dare to pass gas near me? I'll teach you a lesson." While Lazy Witch was distracted, the red ant managed to escape. Despite her efforts, she couldn't get the little red ball off her nose. "Don't you dare drop me, I can wash your face." The little red ball surprisingly started speaking. Lazy Witch had been longing for someone to wash her face for a long time, but she couldn't believe that a little ball could help. "You're just a small ball. How can you wash my face?" "You must be a trickster," she replied. "In the red ant's bottom, there's a red gem. With it, I can transform into a little girl who can wash your face." "Let's go find the red ant," the little red ball said earnestly. "Look at me, I'm a happy dancer." On a red mushroom adorned with white flowers, a red ant was cheerfully dancing and humming a little tune. "I'll sneeze you down," Lazy Witch said, getting annoyed. Oh no! Lazy Witch's sneeze not only knocked down the red ant, but it also created a big hole in the mushroom, and the ant fell through. Unexpectedly, the red mushroom continued to grow taller and larger, eventually transforming into a beautiful mushroom house. It had a bright red roof, blue windows, and golden curtains. It was stunning. "Ah, I'm blooming. I'm blooming." The area around the mushroom house was covered in magical golden flowers. They were vibrant and beautiful. "Hi, Lazy Witch, come catch me." The red ant ran into the golden flower field. Lazy Witch searched the flower field, but she couldn't find the red ant. "Here I am." The red ant's voice came from a magical flower with 7 colorful petals. It seemed to be playfully smiling at Lazy Witch. Lazy Witch's little red ball started speaking. "The red ant is hiding in the pistil of the 7-colored flower. It can only come out when the 7-colored fruit it bears ripens." So, Lazy Witch waited for the 7-colored fruit to ripen. Spring left quietly, carrying a hint of sultry wind. Summer's sun became scorching hot with the constant chirping of cicadas. The golden flowers suffered from the intense heat and began to wilt. "7-colored flower, you must hold on," Lazy Witch said with a worried frown. "With your 7-colored fruit, my little red ball can become a girl who washes my face." Upon hearing this, the little red ball advised, "Lazy Witch, use your magic to bring water from the river here to water the flowers." Lazy Witch hadn't used her magic in a long time because she was lazy. However, she genuinely needed someone to wash her face, so she decided to bridge a gap between the mushroom house and the river with one of her hairs. She also took out some pumpkin seeds from her pocket and tossed them into the air. Instantly, the seeds turned into small wooden children with barrel-like bellies and arms and legs, busily working on the hair bridge. "Hee hee, what adorable little wooden children," the little red ball commented happily. "Look, they're bringing water to save the flowers." Achoo, achoo, achoo. Oh dear, at this crucial moment, Lazy Witch couldn't stop sneezing. Each sneeze knocked down the wooden children. "Bad witch, why are you sneezing now?" one of the wooden children shouted. Don't let her take our red dress fairy. Achoo! The wooden child tickled Lazy Witch's nose, and she sneezed again. This time, Lazy Witch's sneeze sent the red dress fairy, the wooden children holding her hair, those pinching her ears, and those squeezing her nose all flying into the mushroom house. Red-dressed girl, come back! You haven't washed my face yet, Lazy Witch said. She couldn't believe she sneezed them all away. In the midst of Lazy Witch's frustration, the mushroom house began to float into the air, carrying the Rainbow King, the Red Dress Fairy, and the Golden Sprites. Higher and higher it flew, getting farther and farther away, like a red mushroom cloud. Above and beyond, the mushroom house carried the Rainbow King, the Red Dress Fairy, and the Golden Sprites into the sky, away from Lazy Witch. The mushroom house continued to rise, disappearing into the distance. From afar, it looked like a red mushroom cloud. Title: The Red Ant and the Rainbow Fruit. One red ant held onto the edge of a red mushroom's umbrella and merrily swung like a seesaw. Achoo! Lazy Witch! The long-tailed monkey. In the forest, there lived a long-tailed monkey who often hung upside down from trees using its tail. Whenever someone passed beneath, it would pluck fruits from the branches and throw them down to the ground. Many animals in the forest had been victims of the long-tailed monkey's fruit-throwing antics, and they grew to dislike it. The long-tailed monkey found itself without any friends. However, this didn't deter it, and it continued to hang from trees by its tail, plucking fruits and tossing them down. One of the angriest animals was the squirrel mother and her little ones, who had been the monkey's frequent targets. The little squirrels often ended up crying after being hit, and the squirrel mother herself had been pelted with pine cones a few times. Yet, they couldn't find a way to stop the long-tailed monkey. One day, as the long-tailed monkey made a young squirrel cry again, the sky suddenly opened up with heavy rain. Caught unprepared, the monkey couldn't return home in time and ended up leaping to the ground. It sought refuge under the roof of the squirrel family's home. Annoyed, the squirrel mother refused to let it in. The rain grew heavier, pouring down like a deluge. The little squirrel tugged at its mother's hand, pleading, "Mom, if the long-tailed monkey gets soaked and falls ill, that's not good. Let it come in and take shelter from the rain." After giving it some thought, the squirrel mother allowed the long-tailed monkey to come inside. As the rain subsided and the sun returned, the long-tailed monkey felt grateful for the squirrel family's kindness. It decided to repay their goodwill by taking the young squirrel out to play. They had just ventured into a nearby grove of birch trees, not far from the squirrel family's home, when they heard a desperate cry for help. The long-tailed monkey, with the young squirrel in tow, raced toward the sound. There, they found a small rabbit that had fallen into a hunter's trap. Luckily, the rabbit hadn't been impaled on the sharp sticks within the trap and remained unharmed. The long-tailed monkey and the young squirrel peered into the trap, but they couldn't reach the rabbit. The young squirrel ran around in frantic circles, and in doing so, accidentally stepped on the long-tailed monkey's tail. Quick thinking, the monkey spun around and plunged its tail into the trap. The rabbit held onto the monkey's tail, and with a collective effort, they managed to free the rabbit from the trap. The long-tailed monkey was overjoyed. It realized that its tail could be used to save others. From then on, the long-tailed monkey often used its tail to rescue animals who had fallen into traps. Over time, it became friends with many creatures in the forest. Although it still enjoyed hanging upside down from trees by its tail, the long-tailed monkey never threw fruits down at anyone. Everyone in the forest grew to like and appreciate the long-tailed monkey. The little gecko's journey. One day, the little gecko was out for a run when the red pony snorted and remarked, "You're so dark, your feet look like chicken claws, and your tail is thin and long. You look quite ugly." The little gecko was deeply hurt by the red pony's words and rushed back home to share them with its mother. Gecko Mom thought for a moment and then said, "My child, how about coming with me to visit the human's room tomorrow?" The following night, the little gecko and its mom ventured into the human's room. They climbed and climbed for a long time. Worried, the little gecko asked its mother, "What if we get hungry from all this climbing?" Mom replied, "Our dark skin not only protects us but also helps us catch prey. We can hide in the shadows, wait for mosquitoes to fly by, and feast on them. There are plenty of mosquitoes here to satisfy our hunger." Pointing at the smooth glass beneath them, Mom explained, "Thanks to the many pleated membranes on our fingers and toes, we can easily run on walls and ceilings, even on slippery glass. We won't slip, thanks to the friction and adhesive abilities of these membranes." Just then, a cat appeared with a loud meow. The cat pounced and clamped its jaws onto the little gecko's tail. The gecko was terrified. Mom shouted, "Quick, break your tail!" The little gecko pulled with all its might, and its tail snapped, allowing it to escape the cat's grasp. Mom reassured, "Don't worry, your tail will grow back." The little gecko's journey concluded, and it realized, "I have many unique qualities. My skin color, feet, and tail all serve valuable purposes. I should be proud of who I am. Who's beautiful, who's not?" In a beautiful forest, there lived a little kitty named Mai. She had long, snowy white fur that made her look like a fluffy ball. Her eyes sparkled like precious gems. Everyone admired her beauty, and that's why they named her Mai, which means beautiful. Mai was quite famous in the forest, and all the little animals loved to play with her. When the mothers talked about their own babies, they would say, "My baby is cute, but if only they could be as pretty as Mai." Mai heard these compliments and believed that she must be quite attractive. However, she had never seen what she looked like. One day, her friend Little Bear, also known as Kaka, invited Mai to the amusement park. As soon as they entered, they were greeted by a plethora of rides and attractions, leaving Mai feeling overwhelmed. She stood by a funhouse mirror and saw all the other animals giggling and laughing uncontrollably. She wondered what was so funny. When she looked straight ahead, the large mirror revealed an ugly, distorted image of herself. Her face looked bumpy, like a walnut shell. Her mouth resembled a misshapen gourd. Her nose was long and thin like a green onion, and her eyes were strangely triangular. "Oh dear, she looked terrible. Who is this?" Mai asked. "It's you," answered Little Hedgehog. Mai couldn't believe her eyes. She clapped her hands and jumped around, and the distorted animal in the mirror did the same. She started crying loudly and ran out of the amusement park. Swan saw Mai crying and asked gently, "Hello, little kitty. Why are you so sad?" Mai replied, "I'm sad because I'm ugly." Swan took Mai to a nearby stream and showed her a reflection in the water. There, she saw a lovely and beautiful little cat, not the distorted image she had seen in the funhouse mirror. Mai suddenly realized her true beauty. A little chick came over and sang a song specially composed for Little Hedgehog. Mai said, "Your song is so beautiful." The chick responded, "Yes, Little Hedgehog is lovely. Everyone likes him." Mai wondered why, and the little chick exclaimed, "You're the ugly one. Little Hedgehog is beautiful because he helps others, and that's what truly matters." Mai soon met other animals who shared similar sentiments, like Little Squirrel and Little Rabbit. She turned to Swan and asked, "Why do they think Little Hedgehog is beautiful?" Swan replied, "It's because he has helped many animals. True beauty comes from kindness." Realizing the truth, Mai apologized to the animals and went back home. The moral of the story is that true beauty lies in kindness and helping others. The shape of love. One day, a little horse trotted across a small river to deliver some wheat to the mill. On the way back, it witnessed a peculiar sight: a young boy, wearing a large cape and holding a shiny little trumpet, was leading a group of animals, including a lion, an elephant, a giraffe, a hedgehog, and even a little monkey, in circles around a giant banyan tree. The horse was curious and galloped over to see what was going on. Tick-tock, The boy blew his trumpet, and all the animals froze as if they'd received a command, standing perfectly still. The boy jumped into the air, grabbing one of the aerial roots of the banyan tree, and his body started swinging from it. His cape fluttered like wings as he hung there. "Oh dear, little one, sweetheart, I'm so itchy. Please let go." The boy swung up and down, exclaiming, "I'll make you itch. I'm not coming down, not ever." "Oh dear, my little sweetheart, have you encountered another problem? Oh dear, spare me, and we'll find a solution together." "Oh dear." The boy landed gently on the ground, not minding that his cape had been scraped by the tree branches, causing the cord around his neck to snap, and the cape to fall to the ground. The boy didn't mind that his cape had fallen to the ground. He looked like he was asking and talking to himself when he said, "My mom hugs me every day and keeps saying, 'I love you, my darling,' but even now, I'm not sure what love means. What is love anyway? It seems like so much fun." Hearing the boy's words, the little horse was puzzled. What exactly was love? Hey, love is all about the jing, isn't it? But we have spikes. How can weg? The hedgehog Sadie, ik know, love is about scratching. If you reachi, I'll scratch you, the little lemon keezy dam, and land next to bente bun thraba, gleefully scratcherint. Themung collect the way and deverian neckhymond. Thelian had the lavest, roaring, lovis herring fod. I fure hungry, I'll catch a wappy assum. The leffen thant the dane, lovis getting. I lead a very ondiodidra. Thegarafa dididist, using gits and gukung to bong bong bong. Thelit lemon kishiatin, lawing ganziang. See, lovi scratching cation. Thelitali horse invasion. Tick tock, thetrampeter gently and a very nefeltinant. Thebanian treesman dildid is, Lydion, think about it. Who do you think is shriff? Theboidal tedishid thought for a moment, and said, I think he emstertin datistin datenden, beauticant quistaportin nostwitwitw. Thetriskid, what are you going day? Thebokari fullisk, saying, Islet metmo fimfi chor. Myrial rootsafric, Thebanian treesid. I monet, the little monkimiac, nimbly climbing there, grabbing gappy sifosha fori fa and handing tidabothi. Thebaniantriel estate ouch, a sitcha kitstrit, saying, what you need, I'll give you, Evan nithithirts. That's love. Thebo isted there, somewhat perplexed, not nong wing had a see. With a clippity clop, Thelatella horsate white. As it trotted back, it continet a potent, whatty slovy, after all. Dariumphrians, can you help Thelastor? Themera loft the story, love canta chemisif, from a warm hug toman seal. It's safety length the batty, kindness, and dunatai turlives. The gift before hibernation. On rainy days, the hedgehog would often whimper and moan. His joints would ache, and whenever a little duck passed by, it would ask, Mr. Hedgehog, why are you groaning so much? The hedgehog explained that during the entire winter, his burrow was a bit drafty, which gave him arthritis. On gloomy days when it rained, his whole body would be sore. The little duck felt very sorry for him. Winter came around again, and it was time for the hedgehog to hibernate. He had just closed his burrow's door when he heard a knock. Opening the door, he found the little duck standing there, holding a package. Friend, to help you sleep warmly throughout the winter, I've collected all the duck feathers I molted and stitched them into a duck feather quilt for you. This way, you can stay warm during the entire winter. The little hedgehog was deeply moved. He was about to say some words of gratitude, but the little duck closed the door gently and told him to go to sleep. The little hedgehog nestled in his cozy and soft duck feather quilt. He didn't want to fall asleep right away. Instead, he wanted to think carefully. When he woke up after a long sleep in the spring, he would need to find a way to repay his kind friend, the little duck. The hedgehog sneezed loudly 7 times and then slept through the entire winter. His nose became extremely sensitive. Oh, he slept through the entire winter. Oh, he slept through the entire winter. The hedgehog awoke, stretched lazily, and realized he was famished. He hadn't eaten anything throughout the entire winter. Opening the door, the spring sunshine outside was so bright that it made his eyes squint. The fresh spring air outside caused him to sneeze again loudly. That's when the hedgehog noticed that on his windowsill were fresh red strawberries, white radishes, and a fragrant big mushroom. Who could have left these here? None of his friends would admit to it. They all said, "It's probably a gift from Lady Spring." Ha ha, the hedgehog laughed and said, "It was Lady Spring who woke me from my hibernation, but these goodies weren't from her. They were from my kind-hearted friends." And then the hedgehog had an idea. He smelled each of his friends. The squirrel had a faint scent of strawberries, so the strawberries must have been from him. The mole had a hint of radish aroma, so the radishes were most likely his gift. The gray rabbit had a strong mushroom fragrance, so the mushrooms were definitely from him. The hedgehog thanked his dear friends. Oh, he had slept through the entire winter, and he had received so many heartfelt gifts. The moral of the story: the kindness and generosity of friends can warm our hearts during the coldest of times. It's a wonderful feeling to have friends who care for us, especially when we need it the most.